I feel like the only real highlight for the show, from the show for me, was the Cody Brodie Lee match. Now, you had your issues with it. I enjoyed it on the whole. I thought it was, hard-hitting, physical, bloody, not too much. Told a good story. I liked it a lot. I really did. The first match wasn't really much of a match when Brodie Lee won the championship. So I liked the match. And personally, I don't really have much of an issue with the outcome. And normally I would. I know you did, and I'll get to that in a second. For me personally, I was kind of already of the mindset that Cody was getting the belt back. Now, it obviously becomes a question of why would you build up Brodie Lee with a 3-minute win, a 3-minute squash win over Cody, if that, if you're just going to have him lose the belt. They wanted to make it, storyline-wise to me, they did that because they wanted to write Cody off for a month, which is why he was gone for so long. Build up Brodie as being a big monster heel for a little while before Cody comes back. Brodie was just there to keep the belt warm, and then Cody gets the belt back. I always figured Cody would get the championship back at some point, just because him losing it felt abrupt to me. It felt like they were teasing that heel turn, and he said last night, I'm not going to go bad or whatever. Even though, I don't know, they never really made it seem that way in storyline up until, they never said anything about it is what I mean, but, I know he has the dark hair now. But look, I still see him losing that championship at some point to a Scorpio Sky, or a Darby Allin is probably the most popular pick. I just felt like Brodie at the time wasn't the right choice, and the way they did it was great. It was an awesome angle, but I always felt like it was just temporary until Cody came back. And now that he's back, they can kind of pick up where they left off with him as champion. So I honestly don't really have much of an issue with it. I do have an issue with the match that we have next week, but we'll get to that in a moment. So your thoughts on the match itself, RJ? It was a dog collar match. I didn't think it really limited them that much at all. I know you felt differently. I didn't love the match. I just thought it was really, really good. And I personally, I thought it was better than most strap matches. And I fucking hate that stipulation. I think it's really stupid. But I thought this one specifically was actually quite good. So what was your analysis of the whole thing, RJ? Your thoughts on the match itself and your frustration, among other people's frustration, with Cody getting the belt back from Brodie Lee so quickly?
So I thought that, like I said before we got on the call, that I thought the first 10 minutes, it felt very plotty, very slow paced, and I thought they were just focusing way too much on the stupid chain. Like, they were just doing all these spots with the chain, but focus on the chain. Once that first 10 minutes came off, they actually started having like a hard-hitting match, and I was getting into it. My issue with Cody winning it is, I understand that, like you said, in theory, they had him lose in 3 minutes for Brodie Lee to write Cody off TV, but it's not like 1990 when there was no internet. Like, we knew Cody was getting written off TV to go film some TV show.
Yeah.
So basically, he took a month off to film a TV show and he came back to win his belt, and they just gave right back to him. And I thought that, like, they were finally going to do something. Like, I'm not even the biggest. I'm not the biggest fan. I didn't really like the group at all. I don't even like the Dark Order, but at least them putting him over Cody so big, like such a I mean, not that it really meant anything because everyone takes Cody 20 minutes. So I guess if you beat him in 3, it really wouldn't matter. But putting him over Cody in such a fashion they did, that I'm like, okay, now like he's gonna be a big deal now, and like he'll probably hold the title for a while, and then just to lose it a month later, he had like one defense against Orange Cassidy, and he needed the belt. This was just to
be fair, he did beat Dustin Rhodes too. To be fair,
I don't care. Who's like 60 years old, so I don't know. I thought that this was like going to help the Dark Order become some legitimacy, and now that he lost the belt, what are they going to do with him now? That's the issue. It's like, okay, Cody won the belt back. It's not like they're going to give the belt back to Brodie Lee. We're going to play hot potato with the belt now? No. What's he going to do? Go back on... Like, that's the issue. I don't even like the group, and I'm arguing for them is the problem. That's my biggest problem with the whole thing. I don't even like the group. I shouldn't even be defending them. I think they're boring. I think they're all a bunch of jobbers, and they're losers. But they give this one guy who has some talent that everyone's like, oh my god, like, he's got to go to AEW. Like, he'll get this big rub. Like, he'll be a big star. He's in the same exact position he was before. He had the Intercontinental Championship for a fucking hot second, lost it, and he was a fucking loser. And that's probably what's going to happen here. And then no one will say anything because he's in AEW. Mm-hmm. That is my problem. If you want this guy to be a big star, you give him a big moment, but then you took it exact... My issue is they gave him a big moment, and then they took it away a month later. And it's not like he's going to get the belt back. He's already... I don't think he's going to be contending for the world title anytime soon. It's just... I think it's a lose-lose for him, and now the group looks like even bigger losers than they always do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I don't know. What were you gonna say?
I said I could go if I actually cared about the group. I would actually go on a long rant.
My issue with the dude is that I agree with you, but I wasn't angry about it just because if they were on this hot streak, and listen, I like Dark Order. I'm actually the opposite of you, where I enjoy them. Do I have their t-shirt? No. But I like the Dark Order gimmick. It's grown on me. I enjoy most of what they're involved in. They gave them that big angle at the end of Dynamite, and that was the peak. That was it. I mean, yeah, Brodie went on to beat Dustin and Orange Cassidy in matches that I think he needed help from the rest of the Dark Order from. At least with the Orange Cassidy one, I remember that. That was a whatever match. The Dustin Rhodes match, I think he won on his own. I don't remember. That was a good match. Far from amazing. I remember we talked about that on the show a week ago, or a month ago, and people were like, oh man, instant classic. I'm like, okay, who cares? But I enjoyed the match for what it was. That was it, though, because they went on to have an 8-man tag team match at All Out with, who was it? Scorpio, Dustin, QT Marshall, and Matt Cardona. And the fucking makeshift 8-man team of the babyfaces won. Cardona hasn't been seen since. Scorpio Sky hasn't done anything since. QT Marshall's a fucking loser. And Dustin Rhodes obviously pinned, he won the match, so we can get a title shot. That was the only reason that match existed. So any idea of this faction becoming dominant and super unstoppable, to me, died that night. And I ranted about it after the All Out pay-per-view and during our review of it the subsequent Thursday, because I thought it was dumb. Why would you build up this group just to lose? So I wasn't surprised with what we got on Wednesday this week with Cody winning and Brodie losing, the Dark Order losing another major match. I don't know. It didn't really bother me. I just don't really care about Orange Cassidy getting yet another title shot. And that's coming from someone who actually likes Orange Cassidy. He's not going to win. That's another issue. You talk about Brodie Lee and his big wins and losses and whatever. It's kind of the same thing with Orange Cassidy, where it's kind of the opposite, where he actually beat Jericho twice, 2 big wins, or at least they're supposed to be. Hasn't really done a lot since. He lost to Brodie Lee already. He's going to likely lose to Cody next week. And as I said to you before the show on the phone, unless Orange Cassidy goes in there, picks up this huge upset victory and wins the championship, and Cody just goes fucking berserk on him and goes heel, then I feel like it's a dumb match to do. It's not unpredictable. Cody just won the belt back. And maybe that was, that's what would make the title win that much more shocking, but I don't think we're getting that. Because Cody just said last night it would be weird if he goes, oh, the dark hair doesn't mean I'm a bad guy now. And then he goes heel. Like, that would make no sense. I don't know. I just feel like this whole championship picture right now is just a mess, dude.
Yeah, I mean, now that you said that, I feel like Orange Cassidy's going to win and then Cody's going to beat his ass after. But, I mean, the thing is, even if he did, the thing is, Cody was teasing heel before he left the first time. But now he's saying he's not. But like you said, if Orange Cassidy somehow did beat him, I could so see him beating the shit out of him after then going heel.
It's just not consistent. That's all.
But then, just I don't know. It doesn't make sense because then Orange Cassidy lost to Brodie Lee, who then just lost to Cody. It just I don't know. I don't want Orange Cassidy to be a champion at this point. No, thank you. I don't know. Another issue with the group is that this is totally, so MJF said he needs to join a faction. Why? None of the factions in the fucking show do anything anyways. The Dark Order is a joke. The Inner Circle hasn't won anything that matters in fucking years. Fucking Taz's group's a bunch of losers. I need to join a faction. I may well win something. Why do you think that? Why would you think that? They've never won anything besides Jericho winning the fucking championship, and that was before the Dark Order or Inner Circle was even a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That just annoys the fuck out of me, and I don't want Orange Cassidy to be champion, and even though I didn't really like Brodie Lee, I thought he should have beat Cody. But I guess when you allegedly can't face the world champion, you just hold the mid-card championship your whole life, I guess.
I don't know. I like Cody being champion. I thought he had a great run before he dropped it to Brodie. I feel like the filming of his show just kind of fucked everything up because he had a lot of good momentum. He was coming off the wins over Eddie Kingston, Jungle Boy, Mark Quinn, Ricky Starks. What'd you say?
Warhorse.
Your favorite. And a bunch of other people. It was a great gimmick. It was catching fire, and it was one of the best parts of the show. Not every match was a winner, but more often than not, it was a pretty good gimmick. The Scorpio Sky match was good. And then he just kind of loses out of nowhere, and it's supposed to be this big boost for Brodie, who has now lost to Cody. He's already lost to Jon Moxley. He hasn't lost a lot, but I feel like he lost it all out as well in that 8-man tag team match. Wasn't pinned, but his team still lost. I don't know. It's just a little weird. I'm not really sure what to say. I like Cody being champion again, but it doesn't do Brodie any favors. Doesn't do the Dark Order any favors. Are Brodie, Orange, and Orange? Are Orange Cassidy, Cody, and Brodie Lee the only 3 people that can fight for this championship? Because I feel like that's the entire picture right now, are those 3. And it's not a 3-way feud that I really care to see at all. I really just don't give a fuck at all about, that 3-way feud. They got to move on from Brodie in the title picture. If this is what they're going to do with him. They got to move on from Orange Cassidy. I just don't want to see the belt around him at all. I would rather see Jungle Boys in that spot, or the Scorpio Skies of the world, or the Darby Allins, or the Ricky Starkses, or the Brian Cages. I don't know, Orange Cassidy, Cody, and Brodie Lee, that combination just doesn't do a lot for me, because it just booking-wise doesn't make a lot of sense.
Do you think they could put MJF in that picture, or is he too far? Like, you see him more as a main eventer than that?
No, that's a good question. No, I can see him doing that. But the thing is that with Cody, I guess, would beat him. He already beat Cody, and he would lose. I just don't want to see him lose again. So that's the only thing I would go against. I would say no to.
Yeah, it would be kind of weird because he wasn't even in the initial tournament to be in it. So